Welcome back to Younger MMA. So, over the last several years, Friedrich Nietzsche has been talked about a lot on YouTube, and I'm not even going to claim to be someone who understands his work. That stuff is really deep, and if someone tells you they understand it, they probably don't. So I'm not going to sit here and act like I'm like I'm not going to be your interpreter, okay, for Nietzsche's work or anything like that. But I really like the idea that a lot of people break it down and interpret his whole last man idea that he wrote about as this idea that, okay, in the end of the world, or when everything is coming to an end, a collapse, that most of the population would be mindlessly entertaining themselves. And he called it the last man because it does kind of lead to the extinction of the human race, because what keeps humans motivated and willing to have families and raise kids and stuff is this idea that we can evolve and build a society, and the hope for the future, and excitement about things that are around the corner, and building something of value. And so when everyone becomes basically hypnotized by mindless entertainment, it only leads to us kind of running off a cliff and not building anything. And I just want to throw this in here. In Jewish mysticism, it says that when the end times come, and that the kingdom of heaven comes down to earth, and that earth is basically God's kingdom now, and it's no longer like a fallen upside down world. They say that once that happens, that you will wish that you had done more. So you'll still be happy that there's no suffering and everything, but you'll wish that you had done more, because what we live in right now is that we live in a fallen world, but we have free will and we have an opportunity to do good things. Now, what is good things? On this channel, I talk a lot about basically how truth is just what it is, and it doesn't need to be explained. So I've talked a lot about on this channel how there is a difference between evolution and entropy. Like, you can say whatever you want, but if you're someone who neglects your health, you will pay the price. And if you're someone that looks after your health, you will reap the benefits. And so there is truth, and there is a correct and an incorrect. There just is. And so when I say we live in a fallen world, but we have the opportunity to do good things, basically what I'm saying is this world is built on sin. So it's built on our desire to fulfill our sinful desires, and it's actually really hard to go against that and do productive things or do nice things for other people, so like charity. So when it comes to sin, there is a pull, there is a urge that is very strong. You know this if you've ever been horny. And there's not that kind of pull to do the right thing. In fact, usually to do the right thing, you're going to have to inconvenience yourself and go out of your way. But the idea is that after the end of the world, when the kingdom is restored and earth is the kingdom of heaven, that the way things are supposed to be is the opposite. So it would be hard to sin. You'd have to go out of your way to sin. And that doing the right thing and creating beauty in the world would just be natural. But anyway, that's after everything happens. The world we live in right now, the urge is to do bad things. So you have to really use your free will and really swim against the tide to do good things. So being productive, helping other people, all that stuff, right? Being spiritual, trying to learn about God, trying to have a relationship with God, even praying. These are dark days. I'm not trying to, I'm an optimist. I'm always telling y'all to hold your head up. But it's obvious that, we live in turbulent times. Having a relationship with God, and I'm not trying to preach to anyone, you can believe whatever you want, okay? You don't have to be a specific religion to receive what I'm saying. But having a relationship with God is almost the only good thing right now. That, and then helping other people. But right now, every time that you use your free will to do something like that, it is sacred. It is like a very elevated thing that you're doing, and you have an opportunity to do that. If you're listening to me right now, you can do this today. It's anything, any kind of sacrifice for your future, any kind of sacrifice for humanity, for another person, all of this qualifies. And so what you're going to see in the near future, and you're already seeing it, is basically a dystopia forming around you, because the distractions and the overstimulation is extremely intense right now. We all feel it. We all know that we're overstimulated. Our brains were not meant to process this much information, and we were not meant to have this much entertainment. So with that being said, as that increases, so too will the value of the good things that you do. So the good that you do is more and more valuable the more that the world becomes like this. So the harder it is to do the right thing, the more significant it is that you did the right thing. And so when you look at, Nietzsche's Last Man, and you see people out here that are stagnant and entertaining themselves, use that as motivation, because that's going to make you stand out. Not that you need to be obsessed with your ego and let it become out of control, but it will make you stand out. Like Dana White said that thing about nowadays people are so lazy that if you just do something, you'll really stand out. That's true, and it's increasingly true. And if you believe in a higher power, which I can't tell you what to believe in, but if you believe that you're being watched and you're being observed, then you should take great pride in every good thing that you do. Because there's this thing, like the philosophers from back in the day, like Plato, they called it the good, right? So the good is something that you can tune into with your actions and your routine, and every day you can increase your connection to it. And you're not perfect, you're a human, so there will be times that you fall out of that state where you're connected to the good. But when you fall off, like, you're going to fall off, pick yourself back up and get back on it. It's not about quitting everything cold turkey and being absolutely perfect. You know what happens when you try that? You relapse and you go back to all your bad habits because you say, oh, fuck it. So what you need to do instead is, instead of trying to do everything cold turkey, just stay on the path as much as you can, and every single time you fall off, you get back up. Because that's what being a human actually is. And that's what trying to have a relationship with the good actually is. Every time you do that, God is proud of you. And my cousin, who is like Orthodox Christian, he told me, I think this was like from the writings of some monk or a priest or someone, but he said that like the highest human potential is a person banging their head against the wall, trying to fight against the temptation to sin. And that's just something to just keep in your mind. Like, you're not perfect. You're going to fall short. It is what it is. Stay on the path and try to help other people, and try to speak to other people and speak, positive things over other people. Alright guys, this is Younger MMA. Be back soon.